I'm here to roast chemistry because let's face it, it's a subject that's always bonding with our hatred for it. Chemistry is like that one person who thinks they're a great mix, but really they're just a toxic combination of confusion and boredom. You know what they say, chemistry is like a relationship. It starts out all exciting with reactions and explosions, but eventually it just settles into a boring routine of balancing equations. Chemists are like the ultimate matchmakers, except instead of matching people, they're matching elements. And instead of love, they're creating compounds that will probably kill us all. I went to a chemistry party once, and let me tell you, it was a real gas, mainly because someone left the Bunsen burner on, and the whole place almost exploded. Why did the chemist quit his job? Because he lost his bond with the company. Get it? Bond, like a chemical bond. Ah, never mind. Chemistry teachers are like mad scientists, except instead of taking over the world, they're just trying to take over your brain with confusing formulas and endless lab reports. Oh, physics, because who doesn't love a good excuse to not understand how the world works? It's like, I get it, physics is all about the laws of motion and energy, but honestly, I'm still trying to figure out how my couch manages to stay on the floor without floating away. I mean, have you ever tried to read a physics textbook? It's like they're speaking a different language. Force equals mass times acceleration. Sounds like something my wife says when I leave the dishes in the sink. And don't even get me started on quantum mechanics. It's like particles can be in two places at once. That's just what I tell my boss when I'm late to work. I'm not late, I'm just existing in multiple states of punctuality. I went to a physics lecture once and the professor said, "Time is relative." I said, "No, it's not. I've got a deadline to meet, and if I don't make it, I'm in trouble." Physics where you can spend years studying the intricacies of gravity, only to trip on your own feet walking out of the lab. I love how physicists always talk about the beauty of physics. Yeah, because there's nothing more beautiful than a bunch of equations and diagrams that make my head spin like a particle in a cyclotron. You ever notice how people always talk about mathematics like it's this big, scary monster? Like, oh, I was never good at math, as if it's a person they have to confront. I mean, what's the deal with algebra, right? It's like a secret code that only some people can decipher. You got your X and your Y's and your numbers and your symbols. It's like a math treasure hunt. And don't even get me started on geometry, all those shapes and angles. It's like trying to solve a puzzle blindfolded. But you know what they say, math is like love. It's all about the numbers and the tears and the frustration. I was talking to a mathematician the other day and I said, I'm not really into math. And he said, well, that's okay. Math is not for everyone, but pi is. Science jokes. They're like a chemical reaction because they can be explosive but also really boring if you don't understand the elements involved. Like, have you ever heard of Schrödinger's cat? It's a joke because the cat is both dead and alive at the same time. Kind of like my career after my last special. I was reading about black holes the other day and I realized they're just like my aunt's house. Everything gets sucked in and never comes out again. Why did the physicist break up with his girlfriend? Because he found her mass attractive? But her gravity was overwhelming. I went to a science museum and saw an exhibit on evolution. It was amazing. I mean, who wouldn't want to learn about how we came from monkeys? Although some of my relatives are still in the monkey stage. Science jokes are like quantum physics. They can be in two places at once. Funny and not funny depending on the observer's perspective. What did the DNA say to the RNA? You're always copying me, which is basically what happens when comedians steal each other's science jokes.